Hi, I'm Gareth, and today we're taking the Music Matters theme and we're going to present it as a waltz. So you can see what I've done already. You can see the Music Matters theme sitting on the top of this waltz all the way through, and you can see we're in 3 time, which obviously is a prerequisite of writing a waltz. And I've tried to do something a little bit pianistic with it. So in the right hand, we've got the melody singing through all the time. We've got some chord filling going on in the middle, and the left hand also involved in filling out the chords, but with a different kind of texture. So the left hand has got this sort of continuous quaver, arpeggiated idea running through it. So it's just to explore how you can take a theme and use it in several different ways. And if you have a look on the channel, you'll find that we've already done this theme in various other ways musically, sometimes in a Baroque style or a Romantic style, for example. But here we are thinking about it as a waltz. So in terms of the harmony, for those of you who want to know what I've done with the harmony, well, we've got a chord 1 in the first bar and a chord 1B, chord 1 in first inversion in the second bar. So often this happens in a waltz that you have 1 chord per bar. We've got a 2-7 chord there, an F minor 7 chord there. We've got quite an interesting chord in the next bar. It's basically a 7-7 chord. Well, 7-7 is a sort of less often used chord, but I wanted to throw it in to show that sometimes we can use chord 7, because so many textbooks always say never use chord 7, you know, but actually it's quite useful to use if you use it in an inversion. The reason the textbooks tell us to avoid it is because chord 7 in root position is a diminished chord, and it can sound a little bit ugly. As soon as you put it in first inversion, for example, or second inversion, it sounds rather better. And if you enrich it by making it a 7th, then it has quite a nice quality to it. So you'll hear what's happened here with the idea of using a 7-7. There are other chords I could have used that would have been much more straightforward. I mean, C to A flat in that bar, I could have used a chord 4, couldn't I? Which would have been fine, but I've used a 7. 7-7, you see, it's a rather nice chord actually, isn't it? And using it in the second inversion. This is a 1B chord in here. We've got a chord 6 here. We're going back to using a 2-7 chord there, but treating the B flat as an appoggiatura onto the A flat harmony note there. And then in this cadence bar here, we're sort of coming to an imperfect cadence. I could have just had a straightforward chord 5, but I've made it a 5-7 by adding this A flat in the left hand. And then I've just decorated that by having a 4-3 suspension. So a suspension has to be prepared. The E flat's prepared here. It's sounded there and it's resolved on that D. And this C is a decoration of the suspension. So if you're into suspensions, then you can use a 4 to a 3 suspension, but you can decorate it by going 4-2-3. And if you want to know about suspensions, we've got another video out there that will tell you all about it. Obviously, this is a first time bar. We're then repeating back from the beginning, and in the second time bar down here, I'm going for a 1B chord there. Then I could have gone for another chord 1 or a 1B chord here, but I wanted to vary it, so I'm using a C minor 7 chord. So this is in E flat major, it's a 6-7 chord. And then I'm going back to this 2-7 chord again, but again treating this B flat as an appoggiatura, and I've just dotted the rhythm this time just to make it a bit more varied, and then a straightforward perfect cadence 5-7 to 1. You'll notice I've taken the Music Matters theme, obviously put it in 3 time. This is kind of fairly tracking melodically exactly what the theme is, but just varying the rhythm again. So we've got 3 straight crotchets here, but we've got a dotted rhythm in here just to make sure that we're not just always plodding along in crotchets when we get these 3 notes. Just makes it a little bit more varied. And I'm trying to keep a fair bit of stability going on in the middle of the text. You'll notice sustained notes, lots of repeated notes, or movement by step, which is quite a good thing to do if you're trying to focus a melody at the top. If you're wanting to have this kind of rolling bass line running in quavers, then we need something that's going to give us a bit of stability. So in this example, the stability comes in the middle of the texture. So that's a bit about the chord design and the musical design of the texture, and just a thought about what I've done with the melody and the rhythm. But what does it sound like? And by putting the score up, you can have a go at this yourself if you want to. It sounds like this. So there you have it, the Music Matters theme as a waltz.